here's my tank. 5 years of putting it together. I'm going to tear it down now. Here's my clam. Had that when I started. About 3 inches long when I got it. That's about maybe 7. A lot of these corals I got as a frags, they've grown so big, I had to break them down. Got about 22 fish, I think, last I counted. Here's the underneath my library is how I plumbed the tank. Got four flows coming from the overflow boxes, give me maximum flow. Got my ballast mounted underneath with my timers. This is the right side where I kept food and stuff. Outside is where I got the sump. It's kind of plumbed through the wall here. Got all my plumbing plumbed through the wall, as you can see. And my canopy, I put the fans in there. There's the lighting. Got 4 3-footers and 4 6-footers for a total of 1020 watts. But if you go outside is where I had my sump area. My refugium and my bottom sump. This is it right here. Had mangroves growing in there. Bought those about 6 months after I started the tank. And they were just stalks. Now they've kind of grown so much I had to keep cutting them. But here's the workbench I made. My RODI sump. Had a Rubbermaid tub for this, but that cracked. And so I got this custom made. It's been working really good. My RODI. My skimmer. Modified that. Had a shorter neck on it, so I made it longer just to get more air contact. And 2 pumps. Iwaki MD 70s, they put out about 1,500 gallons per hour each. Got one pulling water from the tank and one putting it going back to the tank. Here's my CO2 tank, my calcium reactor. This is my bottom sump. I got a automatic switch that controlled my RODI sump, so it's an auto top off, so my water doesn't go down too far. Keeps the salinity stable. This is my top sump again, my refugium. got live rock, caulerpa. I think I got a brittle star, I got hermit crabs, some snails. I got a anemone shrimp in here somewhere, some peppermint shrimp. They kind of dodge in and out. This is the overflow box I made. Custom made that. As you can see, it kind of gravity feeds down. But this is my sump room. This will be all gone too. I've got 55 watt each PCs on there for the refugium. Keeps everything healthy and alive. There's my tank again with my fish. Some of these fish, the yellow tang, the scopus, they're about 5 years old. And my sailfin and my hippo tang, had them going on about 3 years old. And I got just got that rabbit fish about 6 months ago. He's doing real good. He's been eating a lot. The chromis I've had about 5 years. And got 3 clams in here. Got about a 6.5 inch deep sand bed I got with Southdown sand. That helped a lot on setting it up price wise. But tank's been running for about 5 years. Got about 8 tangs in there. All the youngest I think is about a year, which is that coal. The powder I've had for about 2 years. This ton coral I've got, had him since the beginning, going on about 5 years. Some of these corals I've got, some of them I've had since I started my first tank, which was a 58-gallon reef. And that was in I think 98 or end of 98. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to be tearing this down. I'm going to go ahead and feed these guys so you can see more of them. But it's a 180-gallon tank. Bought it used. I got the tank, a stand, and the canopy for about 800 bucks. Heater. There's one of my angels. Got 3 angelfish in here, a lemon peel, a cherub, and a golden angel. Golden angel's kind of shy. He comes out, there he is. Had him going on about 1.5 years. They're pretty expensive, I guess, because they're hard to get. They don't seem to survive too good in shipping. But he's doing great. I've had him for a while. This is my tide pool blenny. I've had him. I got him in California. And I drove out there when we saw my sister-in-law. Got him. He was about maybe 1.5 inches. He's grown a lot. Had him for about 3 years now. He's a good eater. And here's my brittle star. Had him for about I'd say 3.5. He's grown a lot. Doesn't come out much. Doesn't like the light. My scopus. This is my youngest clam I got. I've had him for about 6-7 months. He's grown about maybe, I'd say 1/4 inch. Here's my Maximus. Had him for about 2 years. He's grown. And of course my Duressa clam. But these guys really can eat, man. And I guess that's a good sign, because that tells you they're healthy. But a lot of these fish I've had for a while. This coral here, that started out about a size of a quarter frag, and as you can see, he's definitely grown. Had him for about 3 years, I guess. There's the top view of my tank. As you can see, these corals kind of grow out more than what you can see on the side. They are big. Had to frag them out quite a few times just to keep them down. But I guess that's a good sign too, they're growing. Anthony, that's enough. Put the lid back on there and but that's about it. This is my 180-gallon reef I had. I guess eventually maybe I'll start another tank down the road, probably a smaller tank. But this one really helped relieving the stress after work, I guess. My what I call my cheap therapy. Instead of paying $400 for a psychologist to tell me I got problems, it's nice to come home and look at this once in a while. I guess it kind of relieves the stress. But it's going to be turned down. So eventually I hope to start another tank. I guess that'll do it for me. Let's take one more look around. As you can see, I made a shelf underneath. Keeps the rock above the sand. Gives you more exposure for filtering. Kind of keeps the dead spots away. But that's pretty much it. That's my tank. And this is me saying goodbye. Thanks for listening.